Okay, this video tutorial focuses on the mathematics of matrices, and more specifically, we're going to look at the definition, order, and operations of them. So, in order to understand the order and what to do with various operations of matrices, you need to basically understand what a matrix is. Now, a matrix is essentially a simple rectangular arrangement of numbers in rows and columns. And we usually represent them with brackets around them. So here's some examples. In our first example, you can see that we've got a shopping list here of bread, juice, eggs and cheese, and you can see the numbers of 2, 1, 6, 1. Now these numbers are now arranged in what we call a matrix, where we've got the 2, the 1, the 6 and the 1. So this would be the bread, this would be the juice, this would be the eggs, and this would be the cheese. And essentially the same in our second example. We're looking at some furniture for flats, units, and houses. And you can see that we've got corresponding numbers on our information and also on our matrix here. Okay, so I'm just circling the corresponding. And if we look at our matrices down the bottom in our second example, you'll see that these are all the flats. The middle row is all our units, and the bottom row is all our house furniture. So what is a matrix order? Now essentially a matrix order is the configuration of the matrix. Okay, so we talk about the rows and the columns. So a column matrix, okay, in our first example on our left, this is actually a 4 by 1 matrix because it's 4 rows by 1 column. Okay, we go rows by columns. So in our second one, we've got a 3 by 3 because it's 3 rows by 3 columns. And in our last row matrix, we've got a 1 by 4 matrix. So when we look at doing operations with matrices, we're going to go through an example with adding. So we simply add the values of the different corresponding matrices in order to find our result. Okay, so one key thing to remember here is that you can only add matrices, all right, if they have the same order. So in this particular example, we have a 2 by 3 and a 2 by 3, so we can add them. So essentially what we do is we find the corresponding numbers, 1 and 2, okay, 1 plus 2 becomes 3. All right, let's use a different color. We've got 2 and 1, there are the corresponding spots, so that becomes 2 plus 1, so that becomes 3. And as we just work through. All right, so eventually we're going to end up with one matrix where we've simply added the corresponding numbers in the right positions. When we're looking at subtracting matrices, we do the exact same thing as adding. So the principles are the same, except obviously we subtract instead of add. So an example here again, we have a 3 by 3 matrix and a 3 by 3, so we can subtract them. And if we look at corresponding numbers, we've got a 3 and a 2, therefore 3 take 2 gives us 1. Let's pick this one here, we've got a 0 and a 4, therefore 0 take 4 is minus 4. Okay, pretty simple stuff. And the last thing we want to look at is multiplying matrices. Okay, so when we multiply matrices, we follow the exact same principle as addition and subtraction, but obviously we just multiply. So if we have a matrix that is our example, A, and we want to times it by 3, okay, just in like normal algebra, we put a 3 out the front. So there, this becomes 3 times 1, this becomes 3 times 2, this becomes 3 times 5, this is 3 times 2, this is 3 times 0, and this is 3 times 1. And that's where we get our 3, our 6, our 15, our 6, our 0, and our 3. Now, what I'd like you to do is to have a go at some of these practice questions. Feel free to pause the video and answer them. When you think you've got it correct, continue the video and we'll see how you went. Okay, so let's check your answers. The first one, if B is 6, 12, 24, and 6, and we need to find 2B, we essentially need to double it. Okay, so we're going to times everything by 2. So we've got 2 times 6, which is 12, 12 times 2, which is 24, 24 times 2, which is 48, and then 6 times 2, which is 12 again. And there's our 2B. All right. In our second question, we've got A plus B. Now remember, we simply just add the numbers here. That gives us 3, 5, and 6. I'm just adding the numbers. And this gives us 2, 8, and 7. If I'm going to do A minus B, okay, all I'm going to do is subtract the numbers. 2 take 1 is 1. 3 take 2 is 1. 5 take 1 is 4. 1 take 1 is 0, 6 take 2 is 4, and 4 take 3 is 1. Alright, very simple operations. That's it.